Welcome to English 1120. The goal of this video is to give you an overview of our course before we begin. So this is a hybrid course, which means that it's both online learning and classroom learning. Sometimes people call this a blended learning. And so we're going to talk about what happens online and what will happen in the classroom. Online is where you're going to watch the videos and complete the readings. And you'll take weekly quizzes that will cover some of the most important concepts from the videos and readings. You should also participate in online discussions with your classmates. Half of the weeks, these will be written discussions. The other half, they'll be video discussions using Flipgrid. You'll also work online on some projects that we'll talk about in a moment. So if you do all of that online before class, then you're ready for the in-class. We'll use our once a week in-class experience for something that's more collaborative. We'll work in small groups to apply what we've learned from the reading and the videos to help you become more confident in using the concepts that you've been studying. So this is why it's so important that you get the video and readings completed and the quizzes before you come to class. So you may want to do that on the weekend or at least the day before. So that when you come to class, you're ready to work with your group and try putting into action the things that we have talked about. Let's talk about the course outcomes. The first is to identify and explain the linguistic, philosophical, and cultural issues inherent in different approaches to language and grammar. Here our goal is to understand how people perceive language and grammar and how that impacts them, and what are different ways to study and learn about it. Grammar has a big impact on people. And there are different ways that people perceive how we should study grammar and even how we should define grammar, and then what impact that should have on society. So we want to better understand some of those concepts, and we'll explore those each week. In addition to our more grammar kind of focus, we'll have our more cultural or social focus as well. Then we want to be able to recognize and identify the structural features of English syntax. Syntax is a term that usually means word order or sentence construction. So we want to be able to understand how sentences work in English. And then we want to be able to demonstrate our ability to identify and organize those elements. And this is why we'll use sentence diagramming. Sentence diagramming is a tool we can use to visualize the different components of sentences and how they work and how we can transform sentences by moving and transforming those components. And then lastly, we want to recognize the difference between grammar and usage, and then explain the differing social relevance of both. So grammar is more the forms of the language, maybe the rules and the patterns, but the usage is then how we decide when and where and how to use those forms, and when it's appropriate and inappropriate. Grammar can impact social interaction so much. So it's important that we talk about usage so that we know how to use grammar effectively. Let's talk about some of the assignments in the course. 10% is the weekly quizzes. So after you've watched the videos and done the readings, you go and you take the weekly quiz. The weekly quiz is short. It covers some key concepts that are important to know from that week. You can retake the weekly quiz as many times as you like until you get 100%. Then another 10% of the course are the weekly discussions. And again, these are some weeks written discussions, some weeks video discussions. You'll make your initial post where you respond to the prompt on Monday or Tuesday. Then you come back to the discussion on Wednesday or Thursday and make a meaningful response to one or more classmates. As long as you do that, there's no reason you can't get 100% on this assignment. Then we'll have our exams. And this is actually 2 exams. We'll have a midterm and a final. As long as you're doing your readings and practicing the quizzes and coming to class and learning how to diagram sentences, you should feel very confident in completing both of these exams. And we'll also have research synthesis reports, where you take a concept of language and grammar that you're interested in and you look at how it's impacting society or the world. And so there'll be 2 reports, and for each report, to help you ensure that you're getting good information and you're organizing it well, you'll also complete a research matrix before each report. So 2 reports, 2 research matrices, okay, and that's the 20%. And then we'll also have grammar presentations. Whether you are planning to become a teacher of English or whether you just want to use English in your job, grammar is going to be a concept that you're going to have to explain to other people at different times. So the purpose of these presentations is to give you the confidence to identify a grammatical point, to succinctly and clearly explain it to someone else with visual aids. And so you'll have 4 different presentations you'll do throughout the semester. They're quite short. You'll want to practice them so that you can clearly explain the idea with some kind of visual aid. So here's our study suggestions. First, start early. Start early on the weekly assignments so that you're ready for class, but also start earlier on some of those bigger assignments like the reports and the grammar presentations. You want to brainstorm ideas and start drafting, maybe even get some feedback from a friend or from a tutor at the Writing Center or the Speech and Presentation Center so that you feel confident before it's due. I also want you to make sure that you're reflecting and applying what you learn. As you do the weekly readings and videos, think about how this impacts the language that you use every day or the languages that you're learning. That will help you connect the ideas better and remember them if you do that reflection. And then lastly, please reach out. If there are concepts you don't understand, if there's something in the quizzes that doesn't make sense and you can't get 100%, reach out to me. Maybe I made a mistake. Maybe I need to explain something more clearly. Also, feel free to reach out to your classmates. Okay, they're your colleagues. They're here learning the same things with you, and they may have understood something differently than you did, and you may be able to work together to solve some of those questions. Anyways, I look forward to working with you this semester. Now that we have gone over the main things that are in the syllabus, we should be ready to go on that first day. There'll be no first day, let's cover the syllabus and get out early. No, first day, we're going to work hard and we're going to start learning grammar right from the beginning. And I look forward to seeing you in class.